a wild type missing in this area, or if there is a mutation present, of corresponding mutation present, we go with the hypothesis that this is a resistant. Now remember, this is a gene. All genes need not have a phenotypic. Okay? And therefore we say, though there is a resistant, but if I see the patient, and many times when we say, my gene expert is not coinciding with my liquid culture, that may be the reason. The gene is there, but it might not have been expressed. And that is why phenotypically, I am yet getting a sensitive strain. Okay? So that is why we say it is not the lab is bad. We have to understand it's a gene. Mutation need not be with the phenotypic, this is there. Okay? So these are the ones in the white are the first line drugs which we call, and below are the second line drugs where there are some, what you say, commercial kits available in the market, and I'll go into these ones. Coming to the first two drugs, which I said are the best lytic drugs I have, is rifampicin. And this 81 base pair is the area where mutation is looked for, either with my gene expert or with my line probe assay. Both of these look into this particular area. Okay? And within that, if you go to see 95 to 98% of resistance is in this particular area. That means I yet will have a range of 2 to 5%, which may be a mutation beyond this area. And therefore, my gene expert will not pick up, my line probe will not pick up. Okay? So that is where we say, if you are clinically yet suspecting, but it is coming as sensitive, do a phenotypic. That means grow it, and then you do your sensi, because it is only talking about the RPOB gene. Okay? It's not talking of beyond this RPOB gene. Okay? If you see in Indian scenario and even worldwide scenario, these two, 526 and 531 codons, are the areas where the maximum mutation takes place. And this 100% correlates with your phenotypic test. That means if I put even my sensi by the liquid, I will have a 100% correlation. That means if I have in 506, 7, 8, 9, or if I have beyond that, it will not be picked up that effectively with my liquid system. I think this clears up something which we have to be very well aware. Now, when we talk of mutations, they may be wild types which are absent. In addition, there will be the presence of mutation bands. Okay? Gene expert only gives the absence of the wild type. It does not tell you any mutation present. So, if you go to CSL lab, I will prefer to have a line probe assay because I can also know where is the mutation. Okay? This is many times important because many a times the wild type is all present, but I yet have mutation bands. What we call as heteroresistance. Those people who have worked with a line probe assay will see all wild type present, but there are also mutation bands present. Right? So maybe I will miss out in my gene expert, but I will pick it up in the line probe assay. Right? So that is there. So when we say there is an absence of a wild type with the mutation, corresponding mutation band, we say this is a definite, what we say, as mutation or an undisputed. But if it is absence with no mutant, we call it as a disputed mutation, or we say it is silent mutation. Silent mutation, if you actually go by the definition of silent mutation, means mutation took place, but there is no phenotypic expression. So to prove the phenotypic expression means I have to grow it and I have to show the characteristics of a resistance in this particular thing is there. That was with concerns to coming to isoniazide. Now this is something which is not spoken about in the gene expert. So only those laboratories which are doing the line probe assay will get this additional information. Many labs says, I am happy with the gene expert, I don't want. Okay, line probe, because I need to have a lab setup, because I need a slightly more technical expertise in that, and there are contaminations sometimes occurring because I'm processing the sample before I process it by the line probe assay. But believe me, when you have the capability of a molecular lab, you must have this additional feature because INHA resistance usually go hand in hand with ethionamide because the cycle of resistance is the same pathway that both of them are taking. In the case of isoniazide, just like I said, 98% mutation in RPOB for rifampicin. In the case of CAT-G, it ranges somewhere between 45 to 60%. And in the case of INHA, it ranges somewhere between 35 again to 45%. That means mutations in this area. Now, ideally in the lab, when we get a presence of a mutation or an absence of a band, we just say isoniazid resistant. But I will further say that lab should mention whether it is a high level or low level. High level in the sense when the CAT-G, that means if there is a missing band and a mutation band present in the CAT gene, it's called as a high level. As opposed to that, if there is only in the INH area, we say it's a low level. Low level meaning, if you go to see, there are studies which say increase the dose of isoniazid and the patient will respond. Right? So why should I do away with this very effective bactericidal drug when I can increase the isoniazid dosage and yet the patient can benefit with it? Now only these two are detected by your line probe assay. AFC and the NDH is not detected. So if you have to, you will have to resort for sequencing in this area. When in 2010, the GeneXpert came into the market, we already had. There were few takers for line probe because I said they wanted some civil structure, you wanted the pre-PCR, PCR, post-PCR so that contamination doesn't occur, training and all that. But the minute GeneXpert came, everybody, because even in the program setup, we hardly even keep a technician at the site. It is even a data entry operator who has just been taught how to tell the patient to collect the sample and put it into the machine, and it has given it. It was so useful, and if you read the Cochrane review, which came out in 2014, has endorsed this, that is a GeneXpert, in place. That means they said do away with microscopy and directly you go in for that. To come to that phase in the TV program will take little time, but those who can afford, instead of microscopy, go in. At least you can detect. Okay? And also for smear positive, culture positive, or even smear negative culture, this is there. In 2014, I think October, November, they also came out with a Cochrane review for extrapulmonary. And they have given it that a definite go for CSF, pleural fluid, lymph nodes, and lymph node aspirates. In these 4 samples, they say, especially if you have a little sample with you, process it by GeneXpert. Okay? And of course, if you have enough sample to play around, GeneXpert and culture it. Then you can, of course, do furthermore studies with it. This is there. For all other samples, urine, stool, for blood, they said no, you cannot. But at least for 4 of these samples, the Cochrane review has said, yes, go ahead with your GeneXpert. Line probe, it's not that. That means, okay, now this is so good, smear positive, smear negative, let me not go. But like I said, it gives you an additional of INHA and of your CAT-G for isoniazid. And many a times, what we do is, if we have the GeneXpert machine, we run it, and before we put up for a phenotypic DST, we put it up for the line probe assay, because I can give an additional information of isoniazid. It has the beauty of automation. So though because I think most of the laboratories can afford the 4 module in the case of GeneXpert, but if you can do a little more automation where the line probe is concerned, you can run up to 240 to more number of samples. So if you actually see the turnaround time based on the load, a big load lab like us, which receives around 150 to 200 samples a day, because we drain the whole entire Western India. For us, GeneXpert is much more, you can say, faster as compared to your, line probe is much more faster as. What about second line? Now, second line drugs, I think in 2010-11, the government of India gave a ruling that only those labs which have been accredited, because the reason why this was not because it is high and mighty, but because to standardize the second line is itself a big issue. And therefore, only those labs which are regularly going the PT, passing the PT, and then only have been authenticated. There are 8 labs all over India. Ours is also one of the labs which is doing the second line DST. And that I'm talking of the liquid. So what about the molecular testing for second line? This advantage can be done only with those labs which already have a line probe in That means you have the expertise, you already have the infrastructure. All you have to do is to get the kit and go around with it. Okay? Those up ones are there and the lower ones come down from kanamycin onwards. If you go to see, the line probe assay, it says you can test for the quinolones and the injectable aminoglycosides. For quinolone, the kit which is in the market presently in Indian is the Guirea, and for the RRS is the one which is detected for injectable aminoglycosides. So if you see, not only kanamycin, but also Caprio has got that RRS, that means. So it can also be done for Caprio. So we say injectable aminoglycosides as well as this. But for strepto, we have a separate this. And like I said, INHA is for ethionamide. Also INHA, the cycle is, the pathway is the same. So if I have done the first line and I have got INHA also as resistant, then I know I can clearly say that there are chances that he will be resistant also to the ethionamide if that is the second line drug that the clinician is thinking about. If you look, Guide-A, and these are the genes which are there, the wild type and the corresponding mutation bands that you see in the second line DST when we are doing. The RRS for the injectable aminoglycosides, the wild type and the corresponding mutation band that we look for. What is this doing? This is a first line drug, ethambutol, and if you speak to the company, they only said because there was area left over there, they put it ethambutol. This ethambutol, if you go to see, in this area, that means it is only around 45 to 50%. That means even if it is sensitive, I will have to do a phenotypic resistance, fine. But a sensitive, I will have to give this, I will want to confirm it by doing a phenotypic. The reason, this is a slide which is from Hinduja, courtesy Kamila Madam. The reason I put up this slide, there is a version 2 kit of second line. But the FDA India is, for whatever reason, the kit has not come into the Indian market. In that, the EMB, that is for ethambutol, has been removed, and you have the guide.